Iran-Israel conflict had not started, every Muslim state which was a non-Shia Muslim state was calling Iran ghali, people who ghuluv, who go overboard in the muhabbat, in the hub of Ali. They are called, the Sunni states refer to them as, I'm going to face the blows with you, I'm going to take the hits because I'm your brother. But you have to know that you're on the wrong side. So either you apologize or you admit that you are doing something which is against morality. So I would always, and I have always first evaluated before getting into any quarrel that we've been having over the past so many years. We've had plenty. I tell you, you can ask Sahil that Sahil has been into plenty of things. And I have always said, Field Marshal, or if current Field Marshal status stands, I say he's 100% right, and he would always make better decisions than me because he's a trained militant. He grew up as a general, as a militant. He knows the intricacies of battlefield. He knows what the assets of the military they have, and the state secrets and the state policies they have. All I can, as a student of political science, what I can tell you is that Pakistan is a nuclear power, the only Muslim nuclear power declared on paper. Israeli illegally occupied Palestine. This is why Pakistan does not accept Israel as a state. This is the principal stance. This is why Pakistan's passport does not allow a visa and entry into Israel.
Sir, we really want to go into the sharp focus for Iran because they've had their recent leadership transition. And there are questions about the legitimacy and how people are reacting in very different ways. What do you think this is revealing about the level of political and intellectual clarity in the Muslim world today? Also, do you see these moments as genuinely transformative, or are they just repeating the same patterns you've been discussing?
I always say that if peace talks actually transform into a long-lasting peace, or if we go back in time when this Iran-Israel conflict had not started, every Muslim state which was a non-Shia Muslim state was calling Iran ghali, people who ghuluv, who go overboard in the muhabbat, in the hub of Ali. They are called, the Sunni states refer to them as ghali, somebody who is exaggerates and steps out of the bounds of religion. And then they have ahadith to support that, to call Irans and Iranis people who ghuluv. Now all of a sudden, when there is a greater evil fighting them, all the Muslim states are saying, "Oh my God, look at Khamenei. He was the right man. He attained shahada. He did this. He did that." If you really believed in Iran being on the right path, on the yattabi ghayr sabil al-mu'minin, and opposite path, on the sabil al-mu'minin path, then why wouldn't people migrate to Iran and join them in the battle? I'm talking about the scholars and the whole scholarship and the religious scholarship also, not just the political scholarship with faith, but the religious, hardcore religious scholarship. Nobody's going to Iran. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's attaining Shahada because they know that this is too ambiguous to be called Shahada. So let's bring one thing into play, that Iran's current status, Iran's current moves and strategy are very, very globally, materially, worldly strategies of a battle that any country would have gone through. This is why when it attacks Arab countries or Muslim countries, there is no fear of any sort that he is killing people, or he might kill people in collateral who will recite kalama shahada when they die. He has no fear. They have no fear. Why? Because their battle is not non-sacred battle. It is a battle of revenge, that their great supreme leader has been murdered in cold blood, and now what they want to do is take revenge from Netanyahu or Donald Trump or whomsoever. It's more of a battle for supremacy more than anything else. Today, if Iran conquers Israel, it's going to claim its supremacy, and that's it. Does that Islam, is that Islam? Does that denote that Islam? No, it doesn't. So these wars are very, very worldly wars. Evaluate them as such. Pakistan, China, Russia, Iran, Turkey, Malaysia, Azerbaijan, and very soon Qatar joining us, and certain Arab states also now showing colors that they would probably join this band, because the shift of power is quite inevitable, that China and Russia will be the future superpowers, and if not in the near future, then at least in the distant future, that they will take charge of this area, and the currency, and oil, and all sorts of resources, because they have a lot of underground resources. This is a very beautiful time for historians of the current era, that they will write that how certain things shifted, and certain powers shifted. And I like Iran's strategy because the brains behind Iran right now is Russia and China, and the grounds that it's is establishing is self-defense. So it has all the right cards. It's got Pakistan offering them nuclear technology since 2004, and probably they even have it since 2004, because you might recall Dr. A.Q. Khan was indicted on the basis of selling nuclear technology to three countries: North Korea, Libya, and Iran. And North Korea still claims that it has nuclear technology since then. Iran also is under a lot of uh, stress because of this news that broke in 2004, and the sanctions. And Libya was, although invaded, and there was nothing of such sort found there, because I cannot say certain things on air, but I know why Libya just did not have those nuclear weapons that the US was looking for when they invaded Libya, because I know how these things work, and I know where the Libyan nuclear technology was placed when this whole contract was taking place. So yeah, Iran is probably strategically at this moment overpowering the Israeli stance, not the US stance, but the Israeli stance, because US is playing very clever. It is putting its own pieces on the board, pieces like MBS, Saudi Arabia, pieces like Pakistan, pieces like Turkey now. So it is more of a blend of powers now. United States still wants its certain control in the region, and yet be able to let go of certain things, so that a certain balance can be maintained in the region, and yet its existence is not totally wiped out from the Arab side and our region. So Iran's stance is very clear. Iran is doing very good with the brains behind it of Putin and China, and the help of Pakistan. And you cannot deny the significance of Pakistan at the moment. Whenever I say this, I don't know why the followers of PTI tend to have this bias and blind themselves with this. You need to understand that if Pakistan, be it with Imran Khan, when Abhinandan came into Pakistan, the episode of Abhinandan, it was Pakistan army again. It was the state again, Imran Khan's decision that the people acknowledged that it was a good decision, and he let go of the pilot. He gave him a clean path, sent him back, and gained his status in the region, and that brought Imran Khan in the good books, not only of the Western world, but also within the Islamic world. That it's a good gesture that Imran Khan has done. So when you acknowledge certain things of his era, then you have to also acknowledge certain things of Shabazz Sharif's era or Asim Munir's era, and you have to say, yeah, they're doing good. They're actually at Pakistan is at this moment historically at the highest peak, being placed by this current situation that Pakistan has never seen before, even at the time of Ayub, or at the time of Zia, or at the time of Musharraf. Pakistan had never achieved such a distinction in terms of the of being placed in the power corridor. You have to look at the history of Pakistan with a very neutral lens, and then place Pakistan and Iran and this whole region. Ideally, this is the best time that we are witnessing, regardless of the holy and sacred side of it, because there is no such.
Mhm.
Globally, politically, Pakistan, Iran, China, and Russia are currently showing more signs of success than their opponents.
Speaking on Pakistan, the question that I had was, people have been trying to paint Pakistan's role as a mediator these days somehow in the light of Islam, giving it an Islamic paintbrush, that we have been acting as a mediator, a big brother, or we have been trying to fulfill some kind of Islamic responsibility by helping people come, the two warring parties come together. My contention with that would be is, first of all, how and why are people doing this when my brother is being attacked and I'm the one who's trying to mediate between my brother and the aggressor, whereas I should have been on my brother's side and facing the enemy head on, shouldn't have I? So how and why are people trying to paint the mediation role of Pakistan in some way as an Islamic responsibility that Pakistan has fulfilled? And with the follow-up for this is, if you were the one, let's say General Asim Munir or General Xaryab Hashmi, Field Marshal Xaryab Hashmi, how would have you wanted Pakistan to proceed in the future? What would have been the actions that you would have been taking, and what do you think in reality is actually going to end up happening?
Okay, so now there are two sides of this question. The second
Yeah.
side, where you just hypothetically placed me as a field marshal, I would come to that after the first side. I believe if my brother gets into a fight with an outsider, I would not say, okay, you know what, you hit my brother, I'm going to beat you. No, I'm not going to do that. I've never done that. I would first evaluate if my brother is wrong. I'm going to say to him, you need to apologize. And if you're still adamant, you need to face the consequences. I'm going to be your brother. I'm going to face the blows with you. I'm going to take the hits because I'm your brother. But you have to know that you're on the wrong side. So either you apologize or you admit that you are doing something which is against morality. So I would always, and I have always first evaluated before getting into any quarrel that we've been having over the past so many years. We've had plenty. I tell you, you can ask Sahil that Sahil has been into plenty of things. And I have always said, you have to first have a Supreme Court of the Justice of Supreme Court inside your head called a wisdom, shaur, that will first bring a light of justice and Bil Qist. If Bil Qist is not installed in our systems, even if it goes against our parents, the Quran, the ayat of the Quran says, but the standards of Bil Qist have to be instated, even if it goes against your parents and your Aqrabin, then still you have to be Allah's witness and instate Bil Qist. So for me, if Iran is in a fight with Israel, or even while it was in a state of war with the Syrian rebels, even at that time when people were opposing Iran, I would say, why are you opposing Iran? Just because a Shia is fighting a Sunni and you're calling Shia is wrong, you have no idea what this whole fight is all about. It was Donald Trump's favored people trying to come into power and trying to topple Bashar al-Assad, and Russia and China and Iran were trying to reinforce Bashar al-Assad, and they failed. And in the process, certain collateral took place. Some people died on this side, some people died on that side. But foolish people started saying Shias were killing Sunnis, and hence Shias are kafir. Now, this is what they were saying. And I even faced that wrath when there was a similar sort of a discussion, and they brought this up, and I said, you have no idea. You do not read, you do not study, and then you come up with some sort of stereotyping and prejudice that I do not like, I would not prefer. So for me, Iran's fight with Israel needs to be evaluated, that who is on the right side and who's on the wrong side. Israel, from the very birth of it, is illegitimate, is illegal. It is an illegal occupation, just like we say illegally occupied Kashmir, Indian illegally occupied Kashmir. We have to say Israeli illegally occupied Palestine. This is why Pakistan does not accept Israel as a state. This is the principal stance. This is why Pakistan's passport does not allow a visa, an entry into Israel. Why? Because we claim as Pakistanis that it is an illegally occupied Palestine that they want to term as Israel. So the state which is by birth on a foundation which I principally, or the nation, or the most of the nations principally disapprove of, then their battle becomes invalid. So anything their battle with, let's say, if this when they were supporting Ukraine in the battle of Russia and Ukraine, their support, they were sending so-called jihadis trained in Israel, deployed in Ukraine to fight against Russia. Even at that time, I said, imagine Israelis are training jihadis. They are using the terms jihadis because they think there's some sort of a sacred war going on. But Israel supporting Ukraine was enough of a sign for me to say that Russia is on the right side, because there's a clear evil of Israel was fighting in Ukraine's favor. So that when clear evil shows, then whatever munafiq or whatever lesser evil comes into in front of it, you have to take side of the lesser evil. That this is a moral ground that I'm talking about. But you have to still build these things on the meter of justice, on the standards of justice and Bil Qist. So you have to see if Iran is on the 168 or 70 odd children murdered by the first attack from which this whole war erupted. This is the bone of contention. This is where this whole starts from. Before that, Hezbollah being funded by Iran, Yemen being funded by Iran, or anything, Hamas, you can say that these are speculations which can actually lead us to various discussions that we can have all day, all night, and we can probably even have an even amount of material on both sides. But here, Iran was targeted, and Iran has every right of self-defense. This is why in the previous question, they are using self-defense, and once they use self-defense, then they stand on the offense. Then they say, now it is us who will end the war, because it is never us who started it. So now Iran has the upper hand. If I were the field marshal, or if current field marshal stands, I say he's 100% right, and he would always make better decisions than me because he's a trained militant. He grew up as a general, as a militant. He knows the intricacies of battlefield. He knows what the assets of the military they have, and the state secrets and the state policies they have. All I can, as a student of political science, what I can tell you is that Pakistan is a nuclear power, the only Muslim nuclear power declared on paper. Although I believe Pakistan is sharing,
Mm.
and Pakistan is also nuclear. This is where the confusion takes place, that Pakistan is the source of strengthening these Muslim nations, and all of a sudden these Muslim nations appear to be in a war against each other. They are not in a war against each other. If Iran throws rockets at Aramco in Saudi Arabia, it is not fighting Saudi Arabia. Or the US bases in Qatar or UAE, it is not fighting UAE. If they, however, retaliate,
Mm.
then it is war. Then you can say that then the counter threat from UAE will trigger a war that where your Bil Qist standard will come into play. At the moment, whatever Iran is doing is doing in its self-defense. It is protecting itself. Why? Because there are very few intercontinental ballistic missiles that Iran has. Although they have them by means of the support from Pakistan, Russia, and China, they have these ICBMs. But still, for Iran to shoot ICBMs directly to the United States is difficult. So what it's doing, it's using Pakistan as its nuclear partner to gain some muscle in the region and say, okay, even if we die in the blaze of glory, we will do certain things here in the region. Even if we cannot shoot down the US, we will shoot down all the bases and the allies of US. So this is where, see, on international grounds, there are bargaining chips that you have to see. How many chips do you have in your pocket when you sit on the negotiations table? Then you have to say, okay, I've got these many countries, they have this much military, they have these many underground resources, this much economy, these people supporting us, and these technological arms of warfare. Then they say, okay, you know what, it's an open threat. Even if we do not listen to them, then what do we have to lose, and what do they have to offer? So these bargaining chips are being utilized in these sorts of negotiations, these sort of discussions. We have to really be very clever and very wise to evaluate what's going on. And right now, these bargaining chips are in the right hands of Iran, Pakistan, China, Turkey, whoever is joining this bloc. Why I say right hand? Because the other hand is Israel. Israel was utilizing the United States. Israel was utilizing NATO through United States and United Kingdom, and now you have noticed that NATO has backed out, United Kingdom has backed out, and
Yeah.
United States is depleting because it's fighting alone this time. So
Yeah.
these bargaining chips are placed at the right moment, and I believe Iran is going to, and the Field Marshal of Pakistan is going to make the right decisions, and it's doing so.
Sure.